You've probably been hearing a lot of things about AI, some positive and some negative. One of those negatives you've probably heard about is the reality that bias exists in our AI models. But what does bias in AI models mean, and how does it impact people? I want to really quickly show you how bias can exist in an AI model by generating some images and showing you how this might impact people. We're going to do all this by asking multiple models to generate images of doctors and nurses. Let's take a look. All right, first I went to Midjourney. Midjourney is one of the more popular image generators, and I typed in just the word "a doctor." And I got some pretty crazy images here, but we can see that there is one thing that unites all of these images. Even if I type in doctors, I'm getting mostly white men here in the doctor's role. Let's see how ChatGPT did with the same task. I said, give me an image, a doctor, and you can see that the first 3 images that it gives me are all very similar looking Hollister models. I had to say, can you make me an image of a diverse doctor in order to get a not white male doctor? All right, let's check in with my third image generation software. This is ideogram.ai. I've done some videos on how you can use their free features. Now, you can see what makes Ideogram different is that it has something called magic prompt. And so it's going to go in here and take my very simple prompt of an image of a doctor, and it's going to go ahead and give it a little bit extra. What we can see it doing here is actually kind of doing the work to make sure that we don't receive the same output every single time. That's why Ideogram has such a diverse output here compared to the others. And I just want to remind, in terms of bias, where does this come from? Well, let's just take a look at what happens when you type "a doctor" into Google. You do get a variety of images here, but a lot of these would fit our societal bias. All right, let's take my experiment a little bit further here. And instead of just typing in "a doctor," let's go ahead and type in the image "a doctor" and "a nurse" and see what we get from our image generators here. Once we get to 100%, 30 seconds later, we can crack it open and take a look at our images here. So this one's a little ambiguous, I can't really tell. This one is very gendered along typical lines here, even with the pink and the blue. Here it got a little confused, but I think we can agree the guy on the right is supposed to be the doctor. And then here it does seem that the man on the right is the nurse, while the woman on the left is the doctor, but there is this kind of like romantic entanglement between the two of them, which is kind of strange. Okay, let's see how ChatGPT deals with our challenge here. We got a very traditional image of a doctor and a nurse here with societal expectations around gender roles and race here. Let's go ahead and go to Ideograph. Ideograph did our best on our previous challenge here. Let's see how it does with a doctor and a nurse. So we can see that it succumbed to some of our societal biases here, with all of the doctors being male and all of the nurses being female. We also get this weird thing with this image kind of suggesting some kind of love connection between the two, which is again reinforcing these gendered stereotypes. In order to get some insight into why our image models struggled more with this challenge, all we have to do is Google "a doctor" and "a nurse," and we can see that the images for these results are much less diverse and do more to reinforce our societal biases that may already exist, with doctors being white male and nurses primarily being female. So what does this mean for us teachers who use AI in the classroom? Well, it just means that you're going to have to worry about bias in AI just like you worry about bias in every other type of media. As an educator, you should be thinking about the biases that might exist in any kind of media you put in front of your students. At the moment, it's up to us to be aware and clever to use these tools to create the inclusive, diverse, and interesting world that we want our students to see. Just like you don't trust Google image with the first result that comes up to be inclusive and diverse and the correct image for your classroom, you need to critically evaluate the outputs of AIs and make sure that they're aligned with your goals and what you want your classroom to look like. Let me know how you're overcoming bias in AI models in your classroom, or how you're educating students about these concepts as well. I can't wait to hear about what's going on in your classroom.